All right.
Okay, so let me show off what's for lunch today. I don't know where Rabbit is. Rabbit appears to be AFK, but I don't know. He hasn't said anything since I've DM'd him or anything. But today's lunch is just chicken salad with custom dressing. I like my mixing and matching, so it's a melange of different different things. But I guess we'll start on the topic today of gatekeeping fandoms, and I guess more or less what's some of the worst fandoms that are like gatekeepers or general butt munches, I would say. um, Andy, what's been your experience of like some of the worst fandoms out there, like gatekeeping and everything?
I'd say probably the Dragonball fandom, the Naruto fandom, and the Bleach fandom, and the Star Wars fandom.
Oh, like elaborate. Oh, there's Nate.
Hello.
Welcome, Nate. We were just getting started. Go ahead and do the intro. Do the thing.
Okay. Hello, peoples across all platforms. Welcome to the Idiots Podcast, episode 52. Today's topic is fandom gatekeeping, or something like that.
Yep. No idea where Rabbit is.
Yeah, me neither. I was.
He hasn't said anything. But we'll go ahead and get started. So Andy said, some of the worst offenders of gatekeeping fandoms are Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach. What else did you say, Andy?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Luckily I haven't encountered like anyone in Dragon Ball, but yeah, I think if I just came in and I just said that I'm in the media because of Abridged, Sparking Zero, and Daima, they would look at me all weird like, huh?
I mean, admittedly, it is among the newer stuff, and I really don't think like fandoms should gatekeep like that. Like, while I honestly think, like with Star Wars, I think the sequel trilogy is absolute garbage.
Which trilogy?
The sequel trilogy, the ones that just came out.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that trilogy is absolute garbage. Last Jedi is easily the worst Star Wars movie ever. I absolutely hated it.
I would say it's the worst Star Wars anything ever, even worse than the Christmas special.
That is the thing. Even the fucking Christmas special, it gets an awkward laugh out of you. You're actually mildly entertained by the fact that someone committed this level of cringe to a recorded medium.
Yeah.
And the fact that, apparently Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill all had to be on Quaaludes to get through it.
What's Quaaludes?
A very intense, psychotropic drug. Yeah, you can see it in Mark Hamill's eyes. Like, here, I will put it. Let me see if I can find a picture, but you can see it in his eyes. His eyes are the size of saucer. Let's see.
Wait, what?
Yeah, here, I'm about to show you.
Okay.
Christmas special. Oh, Star Wars Holiday Special. Yeah, here we go. Look at his. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but I'll put it in other pictures. But look at his fucking eyes here. They are the size of saucers, dude. Look at his pupils here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at his face. He is high as fuck.
That's pretty funny.
And that's wait, no, it's not. Is it how old is that medium?
Star Wars Holiday Special. It came out in 1978, the year after the first movie, and I'm surprised it did not sink the franchise as a whole. Because it came out before Empire. And so that could have easily sunk the franchise, but it came out like for a limited release on television. So luckily, I don't think a lot of people saw it. Yeah. Oh, and the funny thing is, Harrison Ford just denies its existence. Like, he was asked about it by Conan O'Brien, and he just looks away and shakes his head. He doesn't even want. He doesn't even want to be there, or pretend it. He just wants to pretend it never happened.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, but when it comes to The Last Jedi, again, so much of it was a confluence of terrible writing decisions, all crammed into a very painful viewing experience. Because that's the thing, right? Last Jedi, I can't even laugh at the cringe or laugh at the behind-the-scenes spectacles. It's just a giant amount of shaking my head and going, why the hell did all this happen? Why did Rian Johnson toss out 80% of the script? You know? And just decide, I'm just gonna write in my own script here. And what he gave us was a fucking mess. It was a unentertaining mess. But that being said, if you are a new fan, that still comes in at the sequel trilogies, and you actually like movies like that, again, I think the better option is to inform you calmly and politely why those movies are bad. Instead of basically saying, oh, those movies are shit and so are you.
Yeah.
You're shit for watching them.
What'd you say, Andy?
You're shit for watching them.
Well, watching them is one thing. It's saying that they're good and enjoying them is another.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you can watch them out of sheer curiosity. And again, like I said, I sat through The Last Jedi and wanted to die halfway through. But
what was the last one called?
Rise of Skywalker and
oh yeah, that one was that one kind of capped off the shit.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Last Jedi, but to be fair, J.J. Abrams was cleaning up a gigantic shit sandwich. So it's like,
yeah,
how the fuck do you clean that up?
Yeah, honestly, it was far too late. There's no way that this movie could save anything.
Yeah. Oddly though, of the Disney Star Wars stuff that has come out, I actually really liked Rogue One. And honestly, I think Rogue One was really good.
There's also the TV shows.
Yeah, the TV shows are pretty good. Well, the problem the TV shows are having, Acolyte was just shit for the whole thing, so obviously it's not getting a second season. But
yeah,
with most of the shows, the problem they have is like they start off really, really strong with a good season 1, season 2, and then the season 3 just ends up being a mess, and then season 4 is just absolute shit. That's basically the trajectory of almost all the Star Wars shows. And again, I need to make my video on franchise shelving and why that would help. Mm-hmm. But the main problem with franchise shelving is that there's internal gatekeeping. And basically it keeps... So, a lot of Hollywood studios are very insular. Like, they do not want to let fresh talent... Insular?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What'd you say, Nate?
What does that mean?
What insular means?
Yeah.
Basically, it means, like, you keep any external factors out, or any externalities out at all. And for Hollywood, that means they don't let fresh talent in whatsoever. It doesn't matter if the idea is the freshest, newest idea they've ever heard. they will not let it in. For example, I have an idea that would actually completely save the DCEU and from with its movies and everything, and even kind of create a fresh start, and at the same time might be a big budget spectacle like Endgame. And I could explain it here if you guys are up for it.
I mean, I'm not like I'm not into the whole universe or something, but so it's like, but yeah, sure, you can
All right,
explain it.
Okay. Oh, the problems that DC faces right now in terms of its movies, right? Henry Cavill is kind of like about reprising Superman again. Largely because of the treatment he's gotten. Ben Affleck has been outright silent about ever reprising Batman again. Whether or not he'll even get a solo movie, which he never did. Then, of course, there is the whole Amber Heard situation with Aquaman. And then there is also the problem with Ezra Miller and all of his escapades and how he probably can't be the Flash ever again. And then there's also the problem with some poor casting choices. Jesse Eisenberg was a terrible choice for Lex Luthor, and Jared Leto was a terrible choice for the Joker. And then on top of this, a lot of the sort of recent movies that came out in 2023 and like late 2022, they've all been just kind of big giant meh. They just haven't really been inspiring. They're just not that good. And so there's this possible new direction that James Gunn is going to take the whole franchise in. He's dropped a trailer for like a new Superman movie, and it looks pretty good. But my idea was this: to basically reboot the whole franchise, start fresh, and have it be a big budget spectacle. There's a plot point among DC called the Justice Lords. Andy, are you familiar with that plot point?
Not really.
Okay. So basically, the Justice Lords plot point is there's another timeline where Lex Luthor becomes the president and has the Flash executed. And
that one, I know what you're talking about. And then
Yeah.
the rest of the Justice League goes crazy, and they after Superman kills Lex Luthor, and they become the bad guys. That was in the Justice League cartoon, Unlimited.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So basically, my idea to fix all this and have it be a big budget spectacle is basically just have all the DC characters and that we have so far become the Justice Lords. Have Ezra Miller's Flash killed off screen by Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor. Have Henry Cavill's Superman kill him, so you get rid of that casting choice. And obviously Jared Leto's Joker gets lobotomized, so you can't use him again. And so basically, before this movie is released, or rather, while it's in pre-production, a lot of the current actors who want to stay in are given the choice, okay, do you want to stay in? Okay, this is your last chance. Get out or stay in. And so if Gal Gadot wants to stay as Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa wants to stay as Aquaman, they can, and they'll just basically be facing each other in the other universe. So basically, while the previous DC becomes, the Justice Lords, the new DC, with David Corenswet as Superman, and with allegedly Alan Ritchson as Batman, and a few other recasting choices, they will become the new league that we focus on, and they end up beating the Justice Lords in a big, climactic showdown. So this would be a movie that hasn't been done before. It wouldn't take a dozen movies to set up either. You could just have it explained right then and there in the movie. But here's the problem. Would David Zaslav go for it? Or what's more, would he even accept my pitch? And the answer is no. He wouldn't. It's an idea I think would really, really work, but I don't think he'd go for it simply because Hollywood be as Hollywood do. Don't let anybody new in. That's how it works. But what do you guys think? You think that would work?
Honestly, just burn Hollywood
Huh?
to the ground. That's what I say.
I mean, it pretty
You
much.
know,
technically
you know
has.
how that sounded to me.
What?
Like you were saying just names of people that I don't know and who they play. I don't know how they look like. I don't know how they act like. I don't know anything, so you know.
I might have to clip this when I drop it and just call it Justice Lord's movie pitch. And see what any commenters think about the idea. But I would do a little research on that after the stream, and you'll see what I mean. But I think it would be an idea that would really work. Like I said, I don't think David Zaslav, current producer of Warner Brothers, would go for it because, again, Hollywood has a very insular culture. They gatekeep internally. They don't let any new ideas in.
Yeah.
But that's just internal gatekeeping with companies. We're here to talk about fandoms. So Nate, what's been your experience with a fandom that gatekeeps a lot?
Uh, I can't. I can't. I don't think I'm in any.
That
Not
like tried to
even like
hardcore gatekeep you?
no.
Hmm.
I mean, again, like for the Dragon Ball stuff, I'm just like still floating kind of on the edges, so it's not like.
You tried to like enter any Dragon Ball communities and
I mean,
maybe.
well, I'm not even sure if I will. No, but I am in the Team 4 Stars Reddit, and that's like. Oh.
Um. Then
But
do you
yeah,
know
I'm
have any
trying
stories of
to
anybody?
think about what?
Do you have any stories of anybody who has been?
Again, trying to think. Mm, nah.
Any
I mean,
stories about that?
all I can like remember is like maybe like making fun of power scalers in the One Punch Man Reddit, but that's like
All right.
Mm.
Um. With One Punch Man, I haven't seen a lot of gatekeeping. To be
Oh,
honest.
yeah, either.
Um. There was the big kerfuffle we had on Amino, but that's not really gatekeeping. That was just bad moderation.
Mm-hmm.
um. But Andy, do you have any stories of anybody who's been like gatekeeped or like any other like examples you can look at?
Well, first of all, what do you mean by gatekeep? You gotta define what you mean by gatekeeping.
Well, someone like tries to assert an opinion in a community, and they're fucking dogpile and told, no, that's not how this is. Brr, 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 things like
I
that.
mean, I thought like like for that it's more like you can't like be in here because you've only seen one movie out of fucking 23 or something.
Right. That happens a lot for sure.
Like that's gatekeeping to me for sure.
Mhm. Basically, it's like being told, get out of here, scrub. You don't know what you're talking about.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically the long and short of gatekeeping. It's sort of a get out of here, scrub. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm the expert here. And I think this comes from like probably just people with a very low self-esteem and who have to feel like like they're doing something or like feel like they're superior at something. Even though oftentimes they're just flat out not. And so this is like bullying is the only thing that can make them feel better in any kind of way.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a bully mentality. It's like, I have accomplished nothing in life, so I will simply prevent someone from enjoying this thing. And here's the thing, they don't like consciously think about this. The other thing is they probably also have very low self-awareness as well. So they just do it instinctively without thinking about the consequences, without thinking about anything.
I
Um
guess that makes sense.
yeah, like it's interesting when you run into these people and again, like I said, you end up disagreeing with them on something, and that's when any mask that they have just fucking slips.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But like I said, in industries, it's also a thing as well. And also quite possibly unintentionally a thing. It just kind of happens that way. There may not be a conscious conspiracy. It just everyone just kind of agrees this is what we do. You know?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, the gatekeeping in Hollywood, there's some conscious effort to it. Some people fully admit, yes, this is what we do, but other people, they get away with it because other people just go along with it, because with any industry whatsoever, a lot of it is get along to go along. You have to agree and just go with what the herd says, because otherwise you get shunned from the herd, and it's never fun to be shunned from the herd, because it's also a matter of avoidance. People don't want to be shunned. They don't want to be exiled somewhere,
That is true.
Mm-hmm. It's how a lot of social dynamics typically tend to go. A lot of people, it's just avoiding short-term pain and not focusing on the long term. Because in a lot of cases, if a community gets that way, or an industry gets that way, it is better to just not feed into it, because you're just reinforcing, a negative feedback loop, that just needs to die.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, are there other areas where, like, hey, have you observed that kind of phenomenon?
Um,
Or Andy?
I just think that a lot of big IPs just have terrible fan bases in general that are so overzealous and won't shut up.
A lot of times, yeah, like the air public example that everybody points to is the Rick and Morty fandom. I mean, you know the moment I'm talking about, right?
Not really.
Okay, so no joke. After season 3 dropped, and Rick talked about getting some McDonald's Szechuan sauce, which was
I've heard about that. Yeah, the sauce, and then that's been gone for like a couple decades because it failed, and they brought it back, and everyone was hounding them for it, and then they were causing a big
it didn't
scene.
fail. It was just a one-time promotion for Mulan when it came out, because Szechuan sauce is a Chinese sauce, but really they didn't really make a Szechuan sauce. All they did was combine basically teriyaki sauce with barbecue sauce, and called it Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, kind of like what Dr. Riddles does when he says that he came up with that the kiddo, and he came up with that snack or whatever. But all he did was just combine a couple of other snacks together.
Yeah. It was clever. I'll give him that. It was a clever thing to do. but it's like it wasn't a big galaxy brain thing, you know. But basically, the Rick and Morty fandom went nuts over this, and no joke, someone went to a McDonald's and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Give me my Szechuan sauce!" And he jumps up on the counter and fucking starts stomping on the counter, demanding the fucking Szechuan sauce. I was like, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, other fandoms probably have moments like that are just so unbelievably cringe and terrible that you're like, bro, what the fuck? What is this? You know?
Well, there are fan bases that are so bad that there are people in it who will even try to imitate what they see, and and they'll kill somebody else. Like there was this, yeah, like a long time ago, back in the 2000s, there was these kids that got together and they wanted to imitate Gaara from Naruto. So they so they buried their friend under the ground under the sand, and he ended up dying.
Shit. Oh fuck!
Wow.
It literally sand coffined someone.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a time when Bleach fans. There was a time when Bleach fans. There was this one Bleach fan who wanted to be who wanted to recreate a scene from the show. So he got himself a sword, and he went and slashed someone and tried to recreate a scene from the show.
Oh god.
Yeah.
People who just don't think, have no self-awareness, don't stop for a minute and be like, wait, what are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm using this correctly, but this is an example of Darwinism in real time.
Real. Yeah, Darwinism does it lets people root themselves out. Like there are just some people who will do stupid things, and they're the reason why there's a warning label on things.
Uh-huh.
Like, no joke. You guys know flex tape, right?
No clue.
It's this really good, honestly, like tape that is made of like this liquid rubber stuff, and I actually use it to help with the bumper in my car. That's how broke we are. But yeah, it holds up through rain, through cold, through heat. It stays on for months. But JonTron, yeah, I'm sure you've heard of JonTron. He did a video where he kind of riffed on it, and he still proved it was a really good product. But apparently, there were some dumbasses who were trying to eat it.
Why?
They took the meme way too far.
Why would you eat tape?
Because apparently, like I said, they took the meme way too far, and were like, let's eat this stuff. And so Phil Swift, I guess one of the heads of the company and the guy who does the commercials, he had to come out and basically tell people, flex tape is not for eating. Don't eat it.
Wow.
Don't eat it in any way, shape, or form. It is not fit for consumption.
Damn, I could have told you that one.
Right? But like I said, it's just some people out there are just that dumb where they are the reason public statements about that shit have to be made. You know?
Yeah.
Or warning labels have to be put on a package. It's just... Or... Getting into, my private consumption patterns, the fact that condoms now come in this little, plastic container that you have to actually have the store clerk open for you, because a bunch of dumbass Gen Zers were doing the snorting condom challenge. Have you guys heard of that?
No, I thought the like the logs are just because it is an 18+ product and you have to,
No, it says 18
give
plus on
your
the
ID.
label. And yes.
Give your ID so they give it to you.
No. The
I
reason
mean,
why it
that's. I mean, I guess that's how I imagine like our laws work here. But I don't know.
No. The
I
reason
would
why
have
it's in those
to
black
check
boxes,
that.
yeah, is because Gen Zers were buying them, and back when they were 16, 15, somewhere in there, and
I wasn't.
yeah, and they were snorting them up their noses. It's like,
Wow.
talk about toxic fandom. I don't know who the TikToker or whoever it is that started that trend, but they need to be arrested.
Yeah. By the way, bye TikTok.
Well, Trump has stated he's gonna extend it for about 90 days, but they have to find an American buyer first. So if they don't, it's probably only gonna be down for about a week. But because he officially takes office tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's the big day, baby.
But since he takes office tomorrow, it might take him a little bit to get around to it. But once he officially extends the ban to 90 days, or rather, again, they have to find a buyer or be banned in 90 days, and it really depends. What's more valuable to them, Americans' data or keeping the app running in America at all? Because that's basically the deal. They have to divest to an American buyer, like flat out. We'll see what happens with that. It's really sort of up in the air. But that is the really frustrating part about a lot of fandoms that are created on TikTok. The fandoms are around really, really fucking dumb, awful people.
Yeah, there are like all these sorts of like nasty and like even like from nasty to life-threatening challenges and just like ugh.
Like the Tide Pod challenge. Remember that one?
Or the toilet seat licking challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And did you guys hear about Pink Sauce Lady?
yeah.
The fucking pink sauce where she delivered it without any, actual.
Yeah, without any cooling.
Yeah, and so by the time they got this rancid, disgusting sauce, it was basically just poison in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
You eat that shit, you're gonna get botulism. And then there's also Bentelect. Have you guys heard about Bentelect?
No.
Penguin Zero did a full video on the guy, and that was the video that basically destroyed his internet career. But basically, he was this TikTok giggler. He basically would just look at tweets and giggle at them. That was the whole video. And basically, he made his career because he was basically slamming the algorithm. Because he would like post 3 videos a day. And because all social media rewards you for posting, shitloads of content every day, then yeah, he just got this huge ass following of people who were just scrolling TikTok and found him, watched him for about 15 seconds, and were like, okay, I'll give it a like and follow him, And it just clearly this fame went to his head because he started a podcast, and then in DMs he was really toxic to women. Like he would harass them for sex. He would, demand that they do an OnlyFans video with them. And when they told him no, like, oh my god, the mask just slipped. He just was a complete shit to them if they told him no. Yeah. it was cringeworthy.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from like fictional fandoms, have you guys ever run into like any creators who are like that? Or like any other people you follow who are like that?
Who are like what?
Again, just assholes who, give their fans really toxic habits.
A lot of YouTubers do that, whether they know it or not.
Yeah. Like,
Especially,
I think there was like one creator years ago, but I don't know who. I've like ever since that like erased that memory with only some like semblance of that I guess that happened remaining.
right.
Probably something in the like I don't know. My earliest fandom was I think Warriors. Yeah, because
What's Warriors?
it's like a fantasy cat series.
Oh yeah, you told me about that one.
Yeah. I think it's called Warrior Cats in the USA. But yeah, just it's called Warriors. Yeah, that was my earliest like fandom when I actually like interacted with like um not forums especially, or I think there was like one weird I guess it was an old school forum, and then definitely there was like the Warriors Amino, which was my gateway into that whole.
Well, Rabbit, I guess, never showed up. I guess he's out for the week. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe he's working on a book. Maybe we'll see him next week. So we'll go ahead and open this up to closing thoughts since I just finished my lunch. Nate, what is your closing thoughts on like gatekeeping and fandoms and what you should and shouldn't do?
I think that overall gatekeeping is stupid. And if you have like a newcomer, in the fandom that came from, for example, like I don't know, a non-ideal media, you could like just approach them and civilly tell them like that just that like in the community that piece of media is regarded as like one of the worst, and for example, and then like offer them like the first thing that was ever made, or just like your favorite thing, and just go from there.
Right. Andy, what are your thoughts?
I feel like that people get way too comfortable in their little in their little spaces, and whenever someone comes around and says something negative, then they go and start throwing a hissy fit, acting like a Karen.
Pretty much. And the biggest lesson of all for everyone is don't be a Karen.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you don't want to be a Karen. I guess my closing thoughts is, like I said, if a newcomer comes into your fandom, right, and they don't know anything, don't be a dick. Like I said, if I was really big into the Star Wars fandom, and everything, and someone came in and said, well, I came to Star Wars because of The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens, it's like, I would calmly sit them down and say, well, that's great. Welcome to the fandom. Welcome to the community. But here's why those movies are bad, and you should consider watching all the other movies to have an informed opinion.
And also be afraid of Sarah, because she might kill you.
And yeah, don't mess with Lady Stone. She will murder you. And she knows how to hide the body.
Oh boy, that is scary.
Yes. All right, Nate, go ahead and give us our closer.
Goodbye, pebbles across all platforms. This has been the Idiot Podcast. The idiots. Plural.
All right, and closing. Oh god, Discord is freezing on me. Oh, there we go. And stopping recording. Yeah.